Hi, I'm Ken Jr. and welcome to Train World TV. Here you'll find the latest and greatest in model trains. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. And if you're new to our channel, we're glad you're here, and I invite you to click the subscribe button and hit that bell notification so you'll never miss a video. Now, we'd also love to send you exclusive deals and special announcements that you won't find anywhere else. So be sure to sign up for our emails, TW Text, and stay connected with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Don't forget, you can shop online at trainworld.com for all your model train needs. Now, without further ado, enjoy today's video.
All right, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to Thomas Tuesday. And we have a very special episode, and Christian has been working hard putting things together. And I thought Christian was going to show up late because he had running around and just getting to the show. He didn't want to miss it, but I see him looking good. It looks like he's got a new fresh haircut. And I think he had to get that haircut before the show. I think that was the delay, but we're excited. And of course, we have Matt Stern from Bachmann Trains on. How you doing, Matt?
Good. How are you?
All right, doing well. And I see Christian also invited back a repeat. He did so well the first time around, and I remember it vividly. Luke Ryan. And he's got a beautiful engine behind him.
It's rather nice. Thanks for having me back.
No, thank you for joining on. And Christian, always glad to see you on. And if you want to spin it around and take it from here, or if you want me to start it off, you got me going, so I don't know where to go. Now I'm all confused. Usually you take care of this now.
No worries. Yeah. So for those of you watching this evening, first of all, thank you so much for tuning into our latest Thomas Tuesday stream. You probably have no idea, but I literally just got on the stream during the introductions as I was just coming back from New York City from my second week now of my doctorate program that I just started there, a PhD degree. So I didn't have time to change out. I apologize. This is my, normal attire, I guess you could say, that you'll see me in if you ever catch me around in real life. But I'm super excited to be here. I'm glad that I made it in the starting minutes of the live stream, and that's also why, Ken, thank you so much for starting off the stream this time so wonderfully, because I had no idea what was going to happen. I logged in, and then the intro was going, and I was like, wow. But here we are. We're all super happy to be here. But Matt Stern from Bachmann Trains is with us as always, and this time he's got a reveal or two for us this time, so it's very, very exciting. And Luke Ryan, thank you so much. I think it's like 11 o'clock at night where you are over in the UK.
Yeah, 11:05 p.m. here in sunny old Wales.
Wow, that's commitment. So thank you very much, Luke, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, and with the actual basis of Sir Haydn right behind him, Ken. I mean, absolutely incredible.
And Luke, your presentation isn't on, so I don't know if you could bring that back. I know you had to reconnect.
Yes, the Wi-Fi decided to drop out literally just before we went live, which is always fun.
Right. But yes, guys, I'm looking into the chat. We have people from all over the world, as always, in Wales, in Korea, in Australia, So thank you so much for tuning in this evening, because we know that it's definitely a time commitment for you to be here. The fact that you're that passionate to be here even in the middle of the night, it just speaks a lot to how much how meaningful this is for all of us. And thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And all right, without further ado, Ken, do we have something planned? I know I came in at the last second, so
I didn't want you to miss out, so I was going to give a little fluff speech and talk about some new pre-orders that we listed, but we could do that last. I'm not sure if Matt or Luke need to go first, one or the other.
I mean, it's pretty late where you are, Luke. I'll defer to you if you.
Okay.
I don't mind starting. We'll get the history lesson out the way first.
Okay, so let's bring on the Luke Ryan, and he's gonna follow up with the first Thomas Tuesday with a second repeat. How many repeats have we had? Really, only like one or two.
Just a few so far, Ken, but guaranteed there's many, many more in the pipeline.
Very cool. All right, Luke, we'll kick it off.
Right, so hello, I'm in Pendray Sheds on the Talyllyn Railway in Wales, which is of course the real Scarlowy Railway. I'm with Sir Haydn, which of course as you'll probably all know as Sir Handel. And this is going to be a bit of a brief history of Sir Haydn, the real Sir Handel.
Very cool.
Right, so bit of context first. Number 3, Sir Haydn worked for a railway called the Cornish Railway, which started its life as a horse and gravity operated tramway, and it opened in 1859 to serve many local quarries between Machynlleth and Corris, which is in mid Wales. In May 1878, the tramway was sold to the Tramways and General Works Company Limited, with the intention of upgrading it for steam traction. By June, this was well underway, with the light rail being replaced with heavier rail to withstand the awesome weight of steam locomotives. Sir Haydn was built in 1878 by Hughes Locomotive and Tramway Engineering Works at the Falcon Works as part of a batch of 3 locomotives. The design was derived from a tram engine, which explains the rather large wheels for an industrial engine of its type, where smaller diameters were a bit more common, and also the very unique coupling system that was common on tramways, but not on railways. So this type of locomotive became known as a falcon, named after the works they were built in. And the photograph you've got on screen is of number 1, so one of her sisters. They all arrived in December 1878 and were put to work. And as you can see in the photo, that is Sir Haydn in the photo. They've got a roof, but absolutely no front weather protection whatsoever, or side plates there. A very open cab. You've got the luxury of a roof, but not quite a full enclosed cab yet. Still early days for having it all nice and cozy. It was just the slate traffic at first, but they did expand to passengers officially in 1883, but it didn't quite stop them from carrying passengers before under the radar. Over time, the 3 engines gained pony trucks, making them 042s. So they originally built with just 4 driving wheels and would bounce around a bit. So the engines over time carried on working, and they were rebuilt with larger boilers, larger saddle tanks, and new chimneys. Tourism at the railway boomed, bringing lots of passengers to the little railway. The engines just plodded on, being maintained steadily. However, by around 1917, so we're jumping a fair bit here, number 1 suffered a form of catastrophic failure, with the engine never running again. In the same year, a report was written on the other 2 Falcons. Number 2 had serious boiler issues, with number 3 here having similar issues, but not quite as bad. The inspector suggested that the boiler of number 3 could see another year's service at best. Both the engines soldiered on, but surprisingly, number 2 saw more work. In 1921, a new engine had been ordered, brand new, and arrived from Kerr Stewart and Company. This was simply known as the Tattoo, never carrying a number during its Corris Railway days. With the Tattoo now taking the weight of most of the railway's traffic, It was being worn down fast, needing a new boiler by 1929. Number 2 and number 3 were both in quite a perilous state as well. Number 2 became the official spur engine, with number 3 seemingly having suffered some kind of failure. But there was a solution to make one good Falcon out of the 3. This was quite a slow burn project. Number 2 was kept as spur, and number 1 and number 3 were taken to the locomotive sheds of the Corris Railway at Moisboif for the long task. The first recordings of this project date to around 1919, just before the tattoo was ordered. Seemingly the new locomotive arriving paused the amalgamation project, but it was soon underway again once more in around 1923. As a spur, number 2 was left outside Machynlleth for many years. Number 1, number 3 and the tattoo were taking up the space in the main loco shed. And by 1927, this engine was missing various parts, seemingly donated to the huge rebuild. The earliest record of number 3 steaming again following the amalgamation is March 26, 1927. The amalgamation was no easy task. Each of the Falcon locomotives were handmade. This is long before the days of mass production or precision engineering tools. It was all done by hand and by feel, and you would make a part that would fit the engine you were building. So if you imagine trying to take 2 engines that are supposed to be an identical design, but were hand built, and trying to swap and change parts between them, you'd soon find that supposedly standard parts weren't standard at all. So it suggested that the majority of number 3 as steaming in 1927 was actually number 1, with a majority of the parts coming from that locomotive. The only reason it was number 3 may simply be down to the fact that it's the bunkers and cab that were used, which still had the number plate attached. The Corris carried on quietly, but was never a profitable venture. Its owners were always keen to sell it on. In 1929, the Great Western Railway's Assistant General Manager, John Milne, sat with Imperial, the then owners of the Corris Railway, themselves a large company that owned other tramways beyond the Corris and various bus routes. He started the meeting saying that the Great Western were not interested in buying the Corris at any price. They were more interested in the bus routes that Imperial held the rights to. However, further meetings occurred, and to acquire the bus routes the Great Western wanted, Imperial were very cunning and made a condition of the sale that the Great Western must also purchase the Corris Railway if they wanted the bus routes. And everything was formalised by August the 4th, 1930, with the Great Western record stating that the Corris Railway and the 2 locomotives were taken into stock. The Great Western had no number 3 on record, so the Falcon retained its Corris number and the tattoo became number 4. As you can see on the tank there, on the bunker even. But even before everything had been formalised with the sale, number 3 was shipped off to Swindon in November 1929 for an overhaul, presumably paid for with the funds gained from the scrapping of number 1 and number 2's remains, as the Great Western insisted that the overhaul must be paid for by the Corris Railway, as they had not yet been officially bought. Number 3 returned to traffic on the 22nd of April 1930, with number 4 receiving some attention later in the year at Moisboif Shed. Both locomotives were now in first-class condition. The next radical change the Great Western made was the withdrawal of passenger services on the 1st of January 1931. Gradually, the rates for transporting slate by the railway were cheapened to compete with the road competitors. It was in 1935 that a local businessman, Henry Haydn Jones, bought the lease of Aberllefenni Quarry, the most important in the area. Haydn Jones and his manager, Edward Thomas, met with the Great Western on many occasions. They promised to persuade buyers of their slate to accept delivery by rail, keeping the Corris afloat in troubling times. This wouldn't be the only time Henry Haydn Jones and Edward Thomas would have connections with the Corris Railway, but more on that later. Now, in 1947, the Transport Act nationalised the big four railway companies, that being the London, Midland and Scottish Railway, the London North Eastern Railway, the Southern Railway, and of course, the Great Western Railway, into one government-owned entity, British Railways. This Act came into force on the 1st of January 1948, with the British Transport Commission now being in control of the Corris. Once again, both locomotives retained their numbers of 3 and 4 under this new administration. The summer of 1948 was very Welsh and very wet. There were concerns that the trap bed near the bridge over the River Dovey would be washed out. Both locomotives were moved to be shedded outside at Machynlleth in case this happened, and cut them off from their standard gauge connection. This was seemingly the right call, as on the 20th of September, service was suspended owing to erosion of the embankment leading to the Dovey Bridge, which you can see here, coming as close as 3 inches to the track. Permission to formally close the line was sought on the 29th of September, and on October 25th, both locomotives were written as condemned. The track bed erosion was blamed for the closure of the Corris Railway, but the damage wasn't substantial and could have easily been repaired. It was purely the excuse to close a loss-making line that British Railways was after. The dismantling of the line began shortly after. The 2 engines were oiled and sheeted at Machynlleth and were left there until something monumental happened in the next valley over. Sir Henry Haydn Jones, who we mentioned earlier, owned his own railway not too far away from the Corris. This was, of course, to a major collapse and was surviving on the dregs of local passenger and Sir Haydn had vowed to keep the railway going as long as he lived, and he kept to his word until his passing in 1950. There had already been some individuals interested in helping to keep this remaining independent railway alive who had already met with Sir Haydn, and on news of his death, a meeting was held. The Talyllyn Railway Preservation Society was formed on the 11th of October the same year, with Lady Haydn presenting the group with the railway the following year. Their first concern was motive power. Number 1 Talyllyn was in a complete state of disrepair, and number 2 Dolgoch was held together by sheer willpower to keep the railway open. They needed more engines. Thankfully, the 2 Corris engines sheeted at Machynlleth were known about, and talks were soon underway to acquire the engines, which had miraculously not been scrapped and were of the same 2'3" track gauge that the Talyllyn utilised. Tom Rolt, Bill Trinder and Jim Russell of the Preservation Society went to Swindon to haggle a price for the engines. The sale was agreed for £25 each, only 3 weeks after the Preservation Society gained control of the Talyllyn Railway. They were not wasting any time, and the engines were soon transported to Towyn via the mainline standard gauge railway. Number 3 and number 4 were now Talyllyn Railway locomotives, and once again retained their original numbers, with the TR only owning a number 1 and number 2. The engines also gained names for the first time. Number 3 became Sir Haydn, after the man who vowed to keep the Talyllyn running no matter the cost, and number 4 Edward Thomas, after the manager who helped to make that happen. But of course, both of these men also played a hand in keeping the Corris open for as long as it was, ensuring the slate traffic from Abergavenny remained on the railway during the 1930s and 1940s. I wonder if either of them would ever think that those 2 engines would then help keep the Talyllyn going. The Talyllyn Railway was then opened for the 1951 season on the 14th of May 1951, marking the start of the world's first preserved railway. The first volunteer-operated train hauled by number 2 Dolgoch, kick-starting the global heritage railway movement. Of the 2 new engines, Edward Thomas was in worse condition, so Sir Haydn was chosen to be brought into working order first. With its first test steaming on the 18th of July, all was well and it was taken for loaded test runs later in the week. This didn't quite go to plan, as the train slipped to a stand on dry rails not even a mile up the railway. This occurred multiple times on the way up the line. Another run was attempted again on the 24th, and all was going well until entering Abergynolwyn, where Sir Haydn derailed. The loco was jacked up, re-railed, and then promptly fell off again. Having re-railed the loco for a second time, approaching Pendray, the trailing wheels derailed, bounced around on the ground, and then re-railed themselves. And this was just a taste of what was to come. In fact, the very first test run would be the only run in 1951 where Sir Haydn didn't derail in some form. And I think you can all see where Sir Handel gets his antics from. It was soon discovered that Sir Haydn had very, very thin wheels, about half the width of Talyllyn, Dolgok and Edward Thomas. This is suspected to be tied to the fact the Falcons were derived from that tram locomotive design, which generally had much finer tolerances for track. This led to the wheels falling between the rails far more easily than on the other locomotives. The trailing wheels, one of the main derailment offenders, were soon sent away to be modified and fitted with broader tyres. Steamroller wheels, some may call them. Edward Thomas had been sent away for overhaul and returned to the railway in 1952 and performed wonderfully. Sir Haydn was put to one side owing to its severe derailment problems. But in 1953, once the track had been sufficiently improved, the railway depended on the Falcon. Dolgok was under repair, Edward Thomas had a split main steam pipe, and Sir Haydn had a burst boiler tube. It looked dire. The season was approaching fast, so some quick repairs and number 3 carried the start of the season on its own, working on reduced boiler pressure and at its absolute limit until it was just too much for the engine and urgent repairs were needed in the height of the season. Dolgok was just about workable at this time and looked after the trains, while Sir Haydn had a full boiler retube, which completely transformed the performance of the engine to, and I quote, the only engine really capable of high-capacity summer trains. In 1954, Edward Thomas was back up and running, and further relief arrived in the form of Douglas, while Dolgok was sent away for overhaul. Sir Haydn and Edward Thomas both received buffers in this year too, doing away with the old tramway-style couplings. Sir Haydn carried on quite happily until the end of 1955. A leak in the backhead had developed following corrosion to the firebox. This was repaired and the engine returned to service in 1957, but again, working on reduced boiler pressure. Sadly, the repair failed and cracking extended across the firebox. Dolgok's overhaul was given priority over the work needed on Sir Haydn, and with Talyllyn's return to steam, the railway now had 3 locomotives to run the season. Sir Haydn did not run during the 1958 season, nor would she run again for another 10 years. During the overhaul, some sins from the amalgamation of the 3 Falcons in the 1920s were uncovered. John Bate, the then chief mechanical engineer, discovered that the frames on each side of the locomotive didn't quite line up, with one even being 3/4 of an inch longer than the other. Seemingly, the left-hand frame and the right-hand frame were taken from 2 Falcons rather than just one. A decision was also made to completely redesign the rather squat and cramped cab to better suit operation on the Talyllyn. For starters, it needed an opening on both sides this time. As you can see, the fireman had to be right up against a wall in Sir Haydn's old cab. This overhaul was complete in 1968, the new cab being taller, a little bit longer, and with the coal bunkers outside of the cab itself, making coaling up easier and giving the crews a bit less of a hot time with less of the firebox in the cab. Since 1968, Sir Haydn has been a rather more reliable locomotive. While small, it always does the job required. In 1982, however, it was repainted from the TR standard green into red and dressed up as the character of Sir Handel. No, that can't be right. Here we are. Yes, sorry. Sir Haydn became quite ill in 1982, so our good friends at the Skarloey Railway, with thanks to the Reverend Audrey, organised for Sir Handel to come and visit while number 3 was being repaired. Sir Handel remained on the Talyllyn until the end of 1984, with Sir Haydn returning for the 1985 season. Sir Haydn has since only seen routine overhauls with no derailments or reduced pressure working in sight, and has even returned to the Corris 3 times, which has since been partially reopened between Corris and Maespoif, with their very own brand new Falcon, which entered service in 2023, featuring a modern representation of the original Corris Railway style cab. Sir Haydn has recently had a fairly major overhaul following the expiry of its boiler ticket in 2012. It returned to service in 2018 and has been pulling trains up and down the railway ever since, including today, and she's still a little bit warm. So as you can see kind of behind me, she's looking fairly red too. At the start of this year, this new livery was unveiled, and it is of course based on the colours worn by Sir Handel in the original Railway series books. Perhaps one for Bachmann to look at for a future batch of the Sir Haydn models, perhaps. And I just want to say thank you very much for listening. And that is a brief history of the real Sir Handel. And I hope you can see where some of the real stories lay.
That's awesome.
Very cool. Great job, Luke.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing as Thomas fans how many references Audrey took from real life, you know, from Steamroller to the Corris Railway, I guess representing Mid-Sodor, or vice versa, Mid-Sodor representing the Corris Railway, and then obviously Scarloway Railway representing the Talyllyn Railway, I should say, and the Steamroller wheels, as mentioned. Audrey definitely, obviously being a railway enthusiast, knew every single quirk about every single one of these locomotives on the narrow gauge and standard gauge railways in Britain. So, I mean, Luke, just thank you so much for going through those.
All right.
Sorry, can you hear me?
I just said it's all right, no worries.
Oh, okay. Thank you for taking the time and I guess
I thought he said what?
Yeah. It sounded like what? Yeah, no, that's what I thought too, kind of. Yeah. So.
It's the accent across the pond.
But thank you for educating us, Thomas fans. For those especially who are more TV enthusiasts, they perhaps don't know the rich history with these Railway Series references. So by going through a stream like this, it'll definitely, you know, create more insight for all Thomas fans across the board, and encourage more real life modeling to happen even after Thomas modeling to begin with too. So.
Yeah, well, I think the thing is, certainly all of those original stories, and obviously the ones that were adapted into the early TV series, it's all based on the reality that is this engine and the other engines in this shed. Because I mean, you've got Edward Thomas just behind there, which is Peter Sam. In front of me here's Talyllyn. You can't see, he's obviously Scarloway. Down the bottom end of the shed, you've got Dolgoch, which is Renius. And awesome. all the real stories of these engines are told in the narrow gauge stories, and it's so nice for us here at the railway to have that, because it means so many people around the globe know our story, even if it's through that fictional lens. It's still the same story.
Definitely. And could you also inform the audience about the Audrey extravaganza that happened recently, and perhaps maybe some other future events that one could prepare for too?
Yeah, so I mean, I just want to thank everyone who did come or watched stuff to do with the Audrey extravaganza this year. It's been amazing to see it kind of grow from the first event to this last the one we've done this year. And yeah, we're having a little bit of a rest. We want to recharge. It's been intense, but there'll still be Audrey related things at the railway always. We're never going to let that disappear. I mean, look, we've got a whole engine painted, you know. I'd say just keep an eye out. We'll always be engaging with it. So the railway won't forget the fans, because you're a part of the railway's community, and we're happy to have you visit and support.
Fantastic. Is there any way you could take your camera and go closer to Sir Haydn?
What I might do, I'll see if I can join on my phone and have a roving cam. Because that might be a bit easier, because I've got a laptop here right now. Let's see if this works. But I would be more than happy to show you around the engine.
Awesome.
I'll just wait for the link. There we are. I'll show you around the shed as well. I'll show you the other engines.
That'd be cool. Actually, I saw RJ influencer RJ Trains on watching the stream. I'm not sure if he's still watching, but he was in the UK recently and doing some videos. I'm not sure if he stopped by for that event, but we'll see.
And I always forget that all those locomotives, Luke, are in that one same shed. I seem to forget that.
So we've got, oh, I will turn the sound off this because it's making noise. The locomotive shed can hold 4 engines, and then we also have some more sheds that can hold the others as well. I'm just trying to... Hopefully that's quiet now. There we go. Right. Here we are.
Wow. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You know, it's nice that we're doing this in September and not November, like a few years ago when we did Edward Thomas, because it must have been freezing at 11 o'clock at night.
Let me see if I can reverse my camera, because I think it's mirrored. Yes, there we go.
It actually looks like a movie set because it's indoors, and it looks just like something from a movie. Wow.
Of course, there's the nod to the Corris Railway.
Very nice.
And we'll take a step up onto the cab. Oh, you guys can still hear me?
Oh, yes.
Good. So yeah, we've got a main pressure gauge here showing the pounds per square inch of steam. Then we've got our brake gauge, and of course the whistle, but we've got no steam. So this is your regulator, or I guess in America, throttle. I've got to remember my American terminology for you guys.
Does the manual have
the driver's position?
Does the manual have two languages?
Well, I think that there's definitely
English and British in the manual. Very cool.
Yeah, so what you've also got here is probably tomorrow's fireman's shirt drying after it's been through the washing machine, because we don't need to use dryers here. We just use steam engines because they're nice and warm. So yeah, this is where the driver would stand. It's got the regulator, the reverser here, which selects your direction, your train brake, and the locomotive brake, and the all-important shovel. Tomorrow's wood to get the fire started on, and the firebox, which is a bit dark, so you're not going to be able to see in there. Oh. And then that's where we've got the coal and the coal bunker. And yeah, and there's Edward Thomas.
Very cool.
We can go and have a look at Edward Thomas if we wish. But we'll just have a quick look at Talyllyn first, maybe.
Very neat.
So this one is the real life Scarloey.
Hmm.
They're in a lovely striking blue livery.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I forgot that he's blue now.
Impressed with how frequently you guys change the paint schemes on the locomotives.
Yeah, so Talyllyn went out of service in 2018 and had quite a long overhaul. So, and part of that, you know, all the parts came off, so the paint got scuffed. So it's going to be, you know, once we're doing an overhaul, it's usually a chance to do a repaint. But yes, Matt, send your pictures.
We've had our eye on it. That's all I can say.
I think I saw someone in the comments there asking, so are they all facing the back of the shed? And that's correct, because that way is going up the railway, and all our engines face smoke box up the railway. So they come into the shed like that.
Is there a historical basis for the blue scheme?
Pardon, I didn't quite hear you there.
Is there a historical basis for the blue scheme?
Absolutely not. We just thought it looked nice. But equally, the green that you've done on the Talyllyn's only existed since the volunteers ran the railway. So it's not much different to when they came up with the green scheme in 1952, in my opinion.
Of course, at one point it wore BR lined black as well, right?
I'll be very pedantic. It's London North Western Railway line black because the guy who painted it insists it is. Okay. But it's basically the same as British Railways black, yes. And then here's Edward Thomas, which has recently also had a new paint scheme, which is based on the works grey of Kerr Stewart, which were its builders. The engine arrived on the Cornish Railway in plain grey, so with no lining. It was just in a base grey coat for the Cornish to apply whatever colour scheme they wanted, and we think it ran in that for a time. So we wanted to kind of have a little nod to that, but we thought it would look a bit weird if it was just completely plain grey. So the lining is based on pictures from Kerr Stewart's catalogue of works photographs. So it's all genuine to the manufacture of the locomotive. But not quite one it would have worn, but it is based in the fact it arrived in grey. We're in there. And then here's my favourite old dear. Dolgoch, or the old lady, or of course Renius or Reneus.
4 little engines.
And she's absolutely unique, this locomotive in the world. I mean, all of the locomotives here are completely unique in their own way. Edward Thomas is probably the closest to a standard loco, but you won't find one exactly like her. Same with any of these, but there is literally not another one like this anywhere in the world, because it is driving wheels behind the firebox, very long wheelbase and a well tank and all sorts of oddities. Built in 1866, so 159 years young and still going very, very good for that age. There we are. Douglas is currently under overhaul, so that will be back in steam, all going well in a few years. I'm going to resume my seat on Sir Haydn.
Nice.
I'll do that.
Wonderful.
But yeah, so Douglas should hopefully be back in steam in a few years' time. And Tom Rolt is, I think, is either in the works or the other shed at the minute, because it just needs a little bit of repair to the cylinder valves. But it's work that happens. You know, we take the engines out occasionally just to do little bits and bobs.
And how about Midlander? What's he up to these days?
It's sat outside in the rain, sadly.
Oh.
We don't have a dedicated diesel shed, but Midlander's back in service after a period away, and it's doing really well for itself. It's nice to see it back out on trains.
Mighty little fella. I guess there's a steam engine privilege or something, right? They get to be inside.
We need to set up a GoFundMe for the diesels.
Well, you joke, but I'm going to plug something now.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're in the middle of a big kind of redevelopment project at the railway, which will effectively kit Pendray out with a brand new workshop, potential facilities for the diesels, new paint shop, and stuff to help the railway going for the next 75 years. Because the workshop we use was built with the intention of maintaining 2 steam engines, Talyllyn and Dolgoch, 5 carriages and some wooden wagons, and now we've got 6 steam engines, 4 diesels, about 27 carriages, and lots of more advanced wagons than just little wooden ones. So we're currently looking at expanding our workshop facilities to keep up with that, but still keeping the original workshops for some more of the heritage work, and also for an opportunity for people to come in and do some workshops and look around the place. So if you go onto the Talyllyn website and have a look at the 75 appeal, or go to our YouTube channel and watch some of the videos, you can find out all about that project and what we're doing to just make the railway better.
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Really. And on that note, also, the Unlikely Fandom documentary by Brennan Carty, Aman Akfa, and others has just been finished recently. And Luke Ryan has a wonderful segment inside the documentary. So definitely shout out to Brennan, Carty, and others. Be sure to check out that documentary as well for even more footage and insight from Luke Ryan on Talyllyn Railway and others regarding the narrow gauge railways in Britain. So
That's great.
all right. Amazing, Ken, right?
It's really incredible to see them up close and personal, and most people watching this live stream will not get a chance to visit the UK in their lifetime. So it's just amazing to see it and be able to, and also maybe encourage them to really make that investment in the trip. I know it's expensive to travel abroad, but I think a lot of people, if they do, stop by the UK, they would probably it would be their first place of visitation.
We hope so. We hope so.
Yeah.
Well, that's why it's worth coming on to things like this, because it's so nice. Because I know people appreciate it, and getting to see something like this up close, and the being able to ask the questions and stuff. I think it's worth doing. And yeah, if that encourages anyone to come along, then that's a bonus.
Yeah, it will definitely be on my bucket list for sure.
Me too.
I think it's so cool that the first ever heritage railway in the world has such worldwide recognition now, thanks to the connection to the railway series.
Yeah, I think I doubt Wilbert kind of knew what impact that would be having still so many years on, and so many years after his passing as well. I'd like to think the fact it still gives the railway such a boost would hopefully, I think, make him happy.
Without a doubt.
Awesome. Well, Luke, thank you so much again for giving us such an insightful documentary, showcasing us around.
And everybody in the chat, give it up for Luke. It's very late, and he really doesn't. He spent a lot of time and energy to put everything together and to be on this live stream. So we really appreciate him, and as a second-time guest, so we truly appreciate that for sure.
I'll come back again if you make some more narrow gauge engines, Matt.
See what we can do.
Of course, anything you need from us, just drop us a line. Happy to help.
Definitely appreciate it.
Thanks, Luke. And again, if you're in the UK, please stop by, and support their railway. It's really excellent. I know it's on Christian's bucket list for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Just got to find the time, but it's going to happen for sure within the next few years. So
very cool.
All
right. So I guess, Matt, do you want to kick it off on Bachmann's end?
Sure, yeah. Before we go into anything brand new, I think it's only appropriate that we take another look here at the much smaller version of Sir Haydn.
Very cool.
So this is the first tooling sample we have. We don't have the painted samples yet. We're hoping to have those in the fairly near future. But this is Sir Haydn here.
It does look fabulous.
Very cool.
And you can see some of the detail. You've got, hopefully this is prototypical, and Luke, you feel free to correct if it's not. Two different lamp styles on the front of the back. I don't even know if it would be running with a lamp on both ends if it's got a train.
Not at the same time, but give people the option to take off the one they don't want.
Right, and then, if you're running it one way or running it the other way, it's not going to be outside of the rules either way. Yeah, you got some separate detail. It's on the top here, and I've just noticed. Let's see, that's a little bit.
All the separate details are really, really nice, and I think for an engine like Sir Haydn and Sir Handel, where you've got a lot of like fine detail up top with the safety valves and the regulator rod and the whistle, it just looks so good that you've done it all with the separate fitted pieces. It looks so good.
Yeah, we poured over photography for hours and hours trying to find good angles and good photos. We probably could have just contacted you and asked for photos, but yeah, no, thank you. It's definitely been a good project, and we're really looking forward to seeing the painted ones, and obviously having them come out and getting onto people's layouts.
Yeah, and Matt, the silver color, that's metal or?
Yeah, so it is a die cast. Not all of them silver you see is metal, but it does have a die cast boiler and chassis as well, of course. And it's got a nice weight to it for the size. And of course, along with that, can't show off Sir Haydn without showing off Sir Handel, which I know we've shown a number of times, but can never have too many, right? So there's the painted Sir Handel. We did just get our box samples into these, which we showed off on our Facebook page last week, I believe. So that means that we're not too far off from getting the actual production models. So these should be arriving, we're hoping, sometime later on this fall.
Very neat.
And with that, we're always watching what new paint schemes are coming out from the Talyllyn Railway. So we'll see. Maybe there'll be a red one at some point. So aside from that, I do have a couple other things to show. I did tease last month, and I think I may have caused a little bit more of a frenzy than, I don't know if frenzy is the right word, but it caused a little bit more excitement than I should have with what I teased, because I think some people took it as being a brand new thing we've never shown anything for before. Unfortunately, it's not that exciting. It's new. You've never seen it before, but you know what it is, because we don't typically make anything before announcing it. So it is announced, and what that is the first tooling sample of our gunpowder wagon.
Mm.
So sticking with the narrow gauge theme, but going to a different part of Wales for this one.
Not that far away.
Not too far. Well, nothing's too far away in Wales, right?
Yes.
What was the basis for this one?
So this is based on a Festiniog railway wagon, which they still have today, and they use on demonstration freights and stuff. And I think for a while it was used as a maintenance of way car as well as being a demonstration car. I'm not sure if they still use it for that. And of course, it's most famous for being in Thomas and Friends as the Defuse It gunpowder wagon, which then also appeared in the CGI era in just a more plain couple of different grays. We're doing all three versions. We're doing the Defuse It, of course, and then we're also doing the more recent plain gray CGI versions as well.
Will you be doing a Festiniog general one as well, like you've done for the Oakley wagons?
I'd say there's a very, very strong possibility of that.
Very good.
Yeah, of course, because we did base the model here on the dimensions and the design of the real thing.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Because like when I saw that detailing, I was like, wait a second, that must be a real life basis. I was like,
yep. Really cool, unique looking car.
Awesome.
And something else I have to show, and this is not something we typically show at this stage, but because it's been so long coming, we wanted to make sure that people know that we're still working on it. And this is, we don't get these for everything, but we got it for this. And this is a 3D printed sample of, no guesses for who it is.
That's awesome.
So I won't give it too much screen time because it's being 3D printed. It's much more crude than what the actual model will turn out looking like. But we get these for sizing, demonstration, and stuff like that. So I've got Birdie here. You can see there's Bulgy and Birdie and roughly what they look like together.
Luke, any double deckers by you?
No, sadly. We're all a bit more inland.
Yeah.
We're a bit too remote.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's what we're working on right now. Sir Handel is going to be here before the end of the year. Hopefully by early winter, if not late fall. Sir Haydn will be a little bit later. Like I said, we're still waiting on painted samples for those. And Bolgi is well, you saw what stage Bolgi's at, so Bolgi's coming along. And when we have an official production or pre-production sample, I'll definitely have that on hand to show as well. But he is moving along, and we're looking forward to bringing him out. I do have some along with the positive. There is a little bit of negative for right now, at least. So we will not be doing the N scale brake van that we announced in the immediate future. I don't know if we'd already discussed this. Did we discuss this already, Ken or Christian?
I don't think so. This is the first time.
Okay. Yeah. So what it comes down to for that is the modifications to make it appropriate for the line. We're just cost prohibitive for now. It's something we may look into doing in the future. We were obviously going to be basing it on Bachmann UK Graham Farish, which has a very similar model in the line. But when we've looked into doing that in the past, we've sometimes actually come up with a totally new model that's completely Sodor accurate, like when we did with N-scale Toad. So you never know. We may see it again in the future in a more show specific or series specific appearance. So with that though, we are still working on Henry. We know we've got a lot of stuff that's in process right now, and it is all very much in process.
I was just about to ask. I'm looking at the comments, Matt, and are N-scale Henry and Diesel still okay?
Yes. Everything else is good. That's the last bit of bad news I have.
Okay.
I'm the first, so we're going to leave it at that for that. But Diesel is coming along well. We're hoping to have something to show for him in the fairly near future, which of course also means Paxton as well. And then we will have Henry coming up at some point, not too long after that, and. We'll keep going from there. Of course, we have HO. We have some new paint schemes coming out for the. We're doing a railway series paint scheme for the plank wagon with the actual China clay load. That's something we're working on right now. So, lots of stuff still in the pipeline, and hopefully, it should make the next few months of streams pretty interesting.
I really quite like the. Speaking of the China clay load, the Soda China clay wagon you announced. I think the actual livery and details from that were taken from the original books.
They were, yeah.
So it's nice to see some perhaps deeper cut references, which I'd certainly appreciate more things from the original books. But I know it's perhaps not as widespread, but it's nice to see. It doesn't go unnoticed.
No, we've had a lot of positive feedback on that, and we may look at doing some more stuff like that, and especially with next year being Thomas's anniversary. Obviously this year was the series, but next year is Thomas
himself. Yeah.
So we'll see. So there may be more to come from that category of stuff.
Okay.
I was going to say, that rolling stock announcement. I think it was last summer with the China clay wagon and also the flat wagon with the oil drums or diesel fuel drums.
Diesel fuel loads.
Diesel fuel load. Yeah, that was a really, really nice rolling stock announcement. Just a lot of variety, one from the model era, and then you had the China clay from the railway series. So I think it was just nice that announcement really catered to all fans. And I think that Bachmann has continued to do that in the recent years. So just anything like that, whether it's rolling stock or an engine or, I don't know, some kind of accessory, maybe like a figure pack, like it's always really exciting when you have announcements that cater to all the Thomas fans. So
that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure everybody's catered to, and especially right now with it being the 80th anniversary, we're trying to make sure that we're honoring and representing all eras of Thomas's history. And of course,
I hate to be a an annoyance, Matt, but with those rolling stock, A2 rolling stock, like the one that Luke mentioned, the China Clay Wagon, are those due at the end of the year or early 2026?
We're going to be looking at 2026 for those. I don't have a specific arrival date for them, but
Okay.
it will probably not be by the end of this year.
Okay. That's good.
But they are coming. That much I can tell you. Also, speaking of the 80th anniversary, we do have the two 80th anniversary celebratory vans, ventilated vans. We have the Thomas 1945 one, and then we have the retro cloud logo wagon as well. And those are expected to be here before the end of the year as well. They should be here in time for the holidays.
Oh.
So that's pretty much what's going on at Bachmann right now.
All right. Lots of good stuff. You actually covered a lot of stuff I wanted to cover. Thank you very much, Matt, for joining us on tonight and always sharing the insider tidbits. So much appreciated. While we were kind of talking a lot about Sir Haydn. So we're still taking pre-orders. So make sure you get your Sir Haydn pre-order in, and we'll definitely ship it out. This one's going to go very quickly. If not all to Christian, then we may allocate them to other people.
On that note, Ken, we actually do need to update Sir Haydn's image. I think the final image is out now, so that.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We'll
That'll definitely encourage more pre-orders.
Okay, very good. Let me make a note. 5606.
Don't use an image of this one. It might be a bit heavy to ship.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to ship it over, by all means, we will accept it.
Yeah.
7-8 tons of engine.
Yep. And what else? Some new pre-orders that we just posted. Sydney and the mainland diesel. So we just listed those last week. So if you're looking to pre-order those, I know they were announced a while ago, but we just got pricing in. So we're going to open up the pre-order window. So make sure you get your pre-orders on Sydney and mainline diesel. So those were two new added listings. And Matt also spoke about these anniversary vans. When they first were announced, we probably got 100 emails on these about are we taking pre-orders. So we just listed them. Make sure you get your pre-order in. I know there's a ton of interest on these. As soon as the pictures were shown, a lot of people wanted to pre-order them. So we are taking pre-orders. So make sure you get that order in, because these are anniversary models. It's a one-shot deal, right, Matt?
Yeah. Once this production run is done, that's it.
Okay, so definitely make sure you get your pre-orders in on those two. I think there was one more, Christian. Was it
Gunpowder van?
Gunpowder van?
Yeah, the defuse it. There's 3 images. Oh no, back down. Back down. Yeah. Right there.
The images we have, unfortunately, aren't the greatest, because obviously the defuse it one was pre CGI and pre HD video, so it's.
That's why it's all the more special, Matt.
But was it Henry we just listed, or I thought there was one more? Did we just post Henry?
Yeah. Henry was recent. Yeah.
Okay, so we just listed N-scale Henry. I think we just got pricing for. So we're taking pre-orders on N-scale Henry. And if you're not following us or Bachmann on Twitter, make sure you follow us on Twitter. I did announce by tweet some of these announcements as we were going through, but we'll make more formal marketing announcements as time goes by. But lots of good pre-orders, so get your orders in. And on the top pre-orders list, the DCC and Sound, both Thomas and Percy, a lot of people have interest in the DCC and Sound version. So I saw a lot of big numbers on the orders for that. So I guess a lot of people just rather have it installed and kind of working on their own engine on the internals.
And they
Sometimes
should be here sometime. We're hoping late winter or early spring as well. So they're getting pretty close to being finalized.
I was going to say, out of interest, Matt, are those the DCC sounds that have been brought over from the UK releases of the ones? Because they made them DCC ready, didn't they?
Yeah, they have the 21-pin plugs, or next 18 possibly. I'm not sure. But
okay, I'm just curious to see where the crossover is.
So the sounds will be the same as on the large scale sound Thomas.
And Matt also talked about Bulgy the Bus, and we are taking pre-orders if you're looking for a double-decker. And I don't know, I think I saw a Soda or Dan. I don't know if he was actually serious or joking around, but he said he drove the actual Bulgy and he drives a double-decker. So I want to find out if he's pulling my leg over here, or if he actually drove a double.
I wouldn't put it past being true. There's a lot of bus preservation over here as well as railways.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That would be a cool guest to bring on if there's a life-size Bulgy the Bus around there.
I was just about to say, Ken, in Japan, they have a bus dedicated to Bulgy. They put the face on the front.
Really?
It's a legit double-decker bus, yeah. In Japan.
Wow.
So,
well, if we have anyone, okay. Well, Soder Dan the Man is saying he's serious. He really has driven the Bulgy the Bus.
We had George the Steamroller down at Tower Morph this year at the Order Extravaganza as well. To reunite with Sir Handel.
So it's really interesting, and this is why Christian bringing on Luke was so special. That the synergy between the real trains and the history of these Thomas characters, bringing them on and bringing Bachmann on as well, it just ties everything all together. So it was really nice to see these engines in real life.
Just on the topic of Bulgy, when I went on the Watercress line in 1996, I think, or 7, I remember they had Bulgy the Bus there as well, which I did get a ride on.
Yeah, very cool. Neat. Well, we got to do another special episode on Bulgy then.
There you go. Yeah, when we get a painted sample, we'll make it happen.
Sounds good. All right, Christian, what do you think?
I'm amazed as always, Ken. First of all, Luke, thank you so much again for staying up till midnight over in the UK to show us the incredible models, real life engines of
one scale,
Edward Thomas, Sir Haydn, Dolgok, and more insight just all together through a wonderful presentation on Sir Haydn exclusively. I knew this was a wonderful time to present this, given that the Bachmann model is going to be coming out very soon, first as Sir Handel and then the real life basis afterwards. So really, really wonderful. And Matt, thank you so much as always for showcasing the latest updates. Thank you for postponing your dinner this time, because I know usually you need to get off to have dinner or put your daughter down, but the fact that you stayed for the whole stream too, we really appreciate it. And actually, I was looking at the view count, Ken, and I think that our numbers were a little bit greater this time because people were also waiting. Oh man, when's that gunpowder wagon reveal or some other reveal? Having the reveal at the end sometimes I think it does help with the views as well. So thank you so much, Matt, for taking the time to do that. And Ken, as always, I know I was running late, all right, because of my real life obligations and commitments that I currently have. But I'm just super happy as always to be here. Putting these streams together whenever I possibly can, even if it's a last sec thing from time to time, given how busy life is for everyone. But really, really, thank you so much, as always.
I got your back, Christian. Thank you so much for putting this together. It was excellent. And thank you, Luke. Thank you, Matt. Truly appreciate it. And don't forget, get all your Bachmann Thomas products at trainworld.com. Get your pre-orders in. And thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Happy Thomas Tuesday, everyone.
Happy Thomas Tuesday.